I'm Andy Dean. I'm Chief Executive at Community Action Northumberland, CAN for short. Warm Hubs is a really big flagship project for us, and actually at its heart it's really quite simple, because what we've done is we've taken what already exists in a lot of village halls and other venues around the county where there are really successful drop-ins for people, meals been put on for older people, for different groups of people, and an opportunity for people to socialise, giving a bit of structure to that, a bit of process, and actually made people that are already doing those sort of activities more confident about what they're doing, enable them to do more, and actually encourage other venues around the county to follow suit. And it's amazing how enthusiastic all the volunteers, and that's what's at the heart of this, volunteers making these things happen, how enthusiastic they've been, and how willing around the county additional people and additional venues have been to take on the whole Warm Hubs concept. Warm Hubs as a project has been funded right from the outset by Northern Gas Networks, and we're really incredibly grateful to them for that, because I think they took a bit of a flyer really, because it was a concept that we had that they developed with us, but we trialled and it worked really well. So we started off with a small number of Warm Hubs in the north of the county, and that's spread like wildfire. Warm Hubs has won a whole series of awards, including a big national award, which was the Community Action Award, which was fantastic, and a number of local awards as well. And the whole initiative actually started from one of our members of my team, Christine, up in the north. And it started from her observing people and seeing the sort of isolation that so many people suffer, and trying to find a different way around that. And Warm Hubs we thought might be the answer. It turns out actually it is.
Tom Bell, Head of Social Strategy for Northern Gas Networks. I became aware, in fact I was approached by Community Action Northumberland about an idea that they had about 2.5 years ago. And it was to create a warm hub. This was a new idea. It was something that was kind of intriguing. Within Northern Gas Networks, we're kind of about providing energy and heat and making people more effectively use the energy that they've got. And the idea of the warm hubs was really to bring people and energy together. And it was born out of a concept where perhaps some people don't have the finances to be able to heat the home effectively. So the idea of having a safe, secure environment, friendly, relaxed, where people can come together, they can actually benefit from a warm, safe environment, but at the same time they can actually get a great deal of social interaction that perhaps might be something in more rural areas is a little bit more of a challenge. Kind of intrigued me. So we decided that we'd run a pilot scheme. The pilot was run, and I remember very clearly Christine from Community Action Northumberland talking about what she was going to do. She was going to renovate buildings, she was going to open kitchens, she was going to train people, she was going to give energy advice, and for a fairly modest investment. And I kind of didn't think it could be done, but I was very pleased that she proved me wrong. Very early we found that the success of the Warm Hub was to actually meet the needs of the local communities, to start to look at the challenges within a community, look to identify volunteers in a suitable environment, and then bring all those three things together. The pilot was very successful, and we went on to agree to fund the scheme for a further 3 years. We're now 2 years into the scheme, and what we're finding is that the success of the scheme, such as the event that we're at today, each of them varies, but the success of them is very clear and evident to see. And we've been really, really pleased, in fact delighted, at the success that Community Action Northumberland have had through a significant amount of work and time that they've invested in Warm Hubs. So much so that we're now starting to look at actually moving them into more urban areas, and we're working at actually starting to move them into Newcastle, so we can actually start to look at some of the challenges in more urban environments. We now have a good handle of some of the issues and challenges around living in rural areas, and by bringing together that learning with what we'll actually pick up from an urban area will give us a really mixed bag to look to see how we can actually roll the scheme out further.
I'm Jane Scott, and I'm the priest in charge of St Bartholomew's at Whittingham and St John the Baptist Edlingham with Bolton Chapel. 3 very small churches, or 3 small communities should I say, in rural Northumberland. We've now installed a servery, and we've got all the facilities we need to serve morning coffee, cake, and hopefully some lunches later on. We've just held a meeting, and we've decided that we'll be open 2 mornings a week from 9 till 11, welcoming everybody. There'll be no charge. Everyone's welcome to come and just join in and meet each other and have somewhere to stay. One lady's already said to me, who's lived in Whittingham most of her life, it'll be lovely to have somewhere to go to. And I think that's really what we're all about, to have somewhere. Because at the moment there just isn't. There's nowhere that people can just meet up and chat. What we tried to achieve was a kitchen that didn't look like a kitchen, it looked like a church kitchen. And I think that's what we've done. It's not the first thing you notice when you come into church, but I think people do notice it. And we've got all, as I say, all the facilities that we need. We've got a dishwasher, we've got a fridge, we've got a cooker, so that it's easy for those people working in it, and it also, I think, is a welcoming space.
And how it can best be used and how it can be used to get everybody together, who those people might be.
My name's Fiona Calder and I'm the administrator for the Northumberland Voluntary Forum, which is based in Berwick-upon-Tweed. This warm hub that we hold here is actually an urban warm hub in comparison to some of the rural ones. The warm hub that we hold every month is in partnership with the Royal British Legion, and we hold what's called a naffy break by providing coffee, tea and refreshments and an opportunity for ex-veterans, service personnel, friends and family to meet in a warm and friendly environment. We've benefited by the Warm Hub by having LED lighting fitted throughout the centre, which has reduced our energy costs and has enabled us to monitor our energy usage. The Berwick Voluntary Centre is a centre with a number of resident organisations. In addition, the building is used by numerous voluntary and community organisations, and a few statutory organisations hire out our conference facilities and also our interview rooms.
Yeah, I'm James. I work with Groundwork North East. I'm a project officer, but got involved in with a colleague the men's shed project from the start, and we had a pilot year, and we kind of over that year we kind of drew in a few different people, and the Warm Hub, Christine introduced us to that, and it was a way of finding a way of making the group more sustainable. So it's not, although Groundwork has been involved, and for a little bit we found some funding that we can continue to be involved, that the group could run independently. So finding ways of making that happen, and the Warm Hub has helped obviously in terms of first aid training, in terms of a grant towards some of the tools, because it is a men's shed, a way of making sure that we have something to focus on, or the group has something to focus on, and being able to use the tools, which are coming in very handy already. And so Warm Hub's helped us to do that. We get our warm food from next door. We have tea and coffee in here. I think it's one of the things that's helped us to help the group to realise that it can be self-sustaining and have a little bit of momentum, whilst Groundwork's involvement kind of pulls back a bit. So yeah, the Warm Hub's kind of stepped in at the right time for a good transition. So something that Groundwork did to something that the group itself now does. So that's been very good.
Right, my name's George. I'm working in men's sheds as a member of the group of people who are doing various little projects. I'm a robotics engineer by trade, but while things are slack at the moment, I thought I'd join men's sheds and do a little bit of woodwork. With having a few more skills with joinery, it's good to actually pass a few of the skills on to the lads who are working here and help them along the way, you know. So it's quite interesting to actually be able to teach people as well as do little projects myself. You know.
Hello there, I'm Christine Hunter. I'm church warden here at Holy Trinity Church in Embleton, and I'm part of a large team that with the outreach here from this parish hall room. It's a small room, but it fits the purpose for a lot of activities here. Right, a while ago, Christine came to us to talk about village agents and if anybody would be interested in being involved in that and helping people in the community that we meet. And that's moved us forward to the warm hubs. Christine came again and helped us with making the facility appropriate for warm hubs. We've got central heating now, the place has been decorated. Now that we've got fresh curtains, new windows, electricity and a brand new kitchen and a purpose-built toilet for the disabled. So now this room is perfect for so many different events from the very young to the very, very elderly. We started off having coffee mornings and they've extended now from just not once a week or twice a week. We now have coffee mornings 4 times a week, and that's for everybody to visit, 10 till 12. Now we've got Mothers Union coming to use the room, women's clubs, and we've got the children and mothers coming for Trinity Tots on a Thursday afternoon. It's becoming a popular venue for people to hire. Today we've got a group of parents with small babies coming for paediatric first aid training, which is essential for living in such a rural area. We're a long way from medical care, so that first aid training is so very important to us. So we're looking forward to that this afternoon.
Hello, my name's Steve Forster and I work for Together Newcastle, which is a partnership project between the Diocese of Newcastle and the Church Urban Fund. And our role is to work with churches and community groups, encouraging them to engage with their neighbourhood and do all sorts of activities that respond to an identified need in the community. And that's anywhere between Tyne and Tweed. Together Newcastle were really interested in developing the Warm Hubs way of working, or the Warm Hubs initiative, because we've become increasingly aware through our work and through our links with churches that a large amount of people are becoming lonely and quite isolated. And we're thinking of developing it particularly in the urban areas of the diocese, which is across North Tyneside in Newcastle. And for all the areas that we'd be working in are built up and there's lots of houses and people live close to one another, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not lonely or isolated. And the thing that we like about Warm Hubs is simple in its idea. It means that we can work with churches who often have groups of people who could become volunteers and use the spaces that churches have. And the huge benefit of Warm Hubs is that there is an impact on the community and the neighbourhood, because it begins to draw people together, brings them out of their sense of loneliness and isolation, so that eventually people can get involved in actually delivering the Warm Hub itself. It's simple in its concept in as much as it can start with offering a cup of tea or coffee and a biscuit, as simple as that. And the key element of it, though, is that the friendship and the sense of belonging that people hopefully get as a result of getting involved with Warm Hubs.
I'm Norman Hooks. I'm chairman of the Community Associations Board. We actually started this, what we call Tuesday Club. We actually started it back in 2011 when we found out that the Meals on Wheels service was being ended here in Stocksfield, and many of the volunteers who were drivers, deliverers and cooks didn't really want it to end, so some of them got together and we recruited lots more volunteers, and out of all that came what we now call Tuesday Club. We serve hot meals to those people who come along. For those people who can't get here, we deliver meals out. In fact, I've been out this morning to deliver to 2 addresses for people who can't get here. And people who come regularly, if they're not very well and they ring up and say they're not well enough to come, we'll take them the meal that they would have had if they'd been well enough to come. We've got approximately 30 volunteers who are split up into teams, so that teams of 3 cooks, teams of 3 volunteers who help serve the food and socialise and play Scrabble and do all sorts of things with the people who come along. Lots of activities going on. We've started carpet bowls. From the word go, we've had whist going on. In fact, some of them probably only come to play cards. We're actually set up probably several years before the Warm Hub scheme came into existence, and we'd been running it initially with some support from the what is now the Royal Voluntary Service. And when Warm Hubs became available and we knew about it, we were happy to be part of it, possibly one of their first Warm Hubs. We've benefited considerably from the support that we've had from it. Obviously, we've got to put our cooks through food hygiene level 2 qualifications, which we do through Christine arranges through Warm Hubs. We've received lots of support in terms of energy efficiency from them for this building. We've had carbon monoxide training, and all the people who come to our Tuesday Club have had a carbon monoxide monitor. We've had energy monitors, so quite a lot has happened because of Warm Hubs.
And Melna and I were having a conversation, and she really enjoys it, as do I, because we both love singing. And when I was talking to Melna said, oh, what a lovely idea to set up a group after maybe Tuesday Club, because perhaps people who went to Tuesday Club could stay on and have that opportunity to sing. So Melna and Christine, they sort of organised getting it off the ground, and I just happened to come along and sort of lead the group. And it brings back memories, no matter what kind of song we sing. Today's different because we haven't had a chat, but in between songs, people actually want to chat about a memory that particular song has brought back to them. And it evokes a lot of memories for the whole crowd in the room. So yes, it's a nice group, and it's lovely to do.
I lived in Stocksfield for over 40 years, and then I had to move away, and I moved to Prudhoe to live with my daughter. And I sort of lost touch with a lot of friends until Ruth rang me up one day and said, why don't you come to the Tuesday Club? And it's been wonderful because I've met up with my old friends, I've made new friends, and it's been a lifesaver, really.
It really is.
Wonderful.
It's the sort of thing that should be in all villages, because lots of people, as you get older, maybe you can't drive anymore, and that is a place where you can meet up, and you don't have to feel so lonely anymore. It's really one of the nicest things, I think, in the village. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also those people that bring us here, for those of us that are disabled, to get out of four walls.
I think I'm the newest member here, I think so. And I've been coming about 8 weeks now, and I couldn't come last week, and it's just not the same, you know.
Yeah.
I've made so many friends, thank you.
Oh, we're all friends.
AUDIOCLICKS. Be heard.